After the woman in white descends, the enemies surrounding Ye Xuan are erased as easily as dust beneath a sword. Her warning travels across Qingzhou, striking directly into Great Cloud's Cangmu Academy and forcing every powerful faction to understand one truth. Ye Xuan is not alone, but victory comes with a terrible price. The backlash from the World Prison Tower leaves Ye Xuan blind, forcing him to abandon ordinary sight and begin cultivating the mysterious sword eyes. Now carrying old Ji's final wish, Ye Xuan begins rebuilding Canglan Academy. And before the new academy can truly rise, he leads Yunqi Bai Ze and Ji Anzhi back to Cangmu Academy to bring their fallen companions home and settle the debt in blood. Now let us follow the next developments in the First Sword God, Episode 22. Hearing the woman in white, Ye Xuan's face darkened. They had not seen each other for only a short while. How had this mysterious elder sister suddenly become so humorous? Had she been replaced by someone else? Not far away, the Ninth Tower Master and Jiang looked at the newly arrived black-robed old man with extremely strange expressions. Had this old fellow swallowed too many fake medicines? But after thinking about it, they found his attitude understandable. In Qingzhou, Great Cloud Empire's Cangmu Academy was considered a top power. But in Jiang Kingdom, it was not merely a top power, it was a transcendent one. Here, its people could practically walk with their noses pointed at the sky. Deep down, they looked down upon this tiny Jiang Kingdom. No matter how strong someone from a place like this might be, how strong could they truly become? But a moment later, the black-robed old man realized that something was wrong. What was wrong? He had just noticed the corpses lying across the ground. And every one of them belonged to a 10,000 Dharma realm expert. Something was very wrong. The black-robed old man's brows furrowed. He turned toward the young man who had come with the white-robed elder earlier. The youth lowered his head slightly and did not dare utter a word. How could he dare speak? The white-robed elder had just been killed by a single sword strike. Seeing the young man remain silent, the black-robed old man's face immediately turned cold, useless. As he spoke, he turned toward the woman in white not far away. He was about to say something when, without the slightest warning, a sword suddenly stopped between his brows. Its tip sank half an inch into his flesh, and blood trickled down. The black-robed old man froze. The woman in white spoke. There is no need to talk, call someone here. Call the strongest person you have. Killing weaklings is meaningless, it is not satisfying, everyone. The black-robed old man stared at her. Who exactly are you slash? His right arm was suddenly severed. Blood sprayed like a fountain. His face instantly turned deathly pale. Beneath the moonlight, the woman in white gently raised her right hand and brushed a strand of hair from her temple. You are too weak. I do not wish to speak with you. Call someone, call them immediately. The black-robed old man stared fixedly at her. After a moment, he crushed a transmission stone. He truly called for help. Of course he did. No matter who the woman before him was, there was only one thing he could do now: call someone above him to come and speak with her. He already understood that Great Cloud Cangmu Academy had lost this round. The woman before him was so powerful that it inspired despair. At that moment, the emerald green sword suddenly moved in front of Ye Xuan, its tip aimed directly at him. Everyone looked puzzled. Under the moonlight, the woman in white said coldly, "Tell me, where did you go wrong?" Wrong? Ye Xuan froze. He thought in silence for a moment, then said, I was wrong for causing trouble. I smack. The emerald sword suddenly slapped his arm, instantly leaving it red and swollen. Ye Xuan clenched his teeth against the pain. The woman in white said coldly, causing trouble, that is wrong, that is what you call wrong. If that is your mistake, then the trouble you caused was far too small. You bothered me over something so insignificant. What were you thinking? Could you not have caused something bigger? Ye Xuan, everyone. The woman in white continued coldly, keep thinking, where did you go wrong? Ye Xuan thought for a while, then answered, my strength was too weak. Smack. The emerald sword struck his right arm again, and his entire body trembled. This time the sword carried a thread of razor-sharp sword kai. When that sword kai entered his body, it no longer felt as though only his arm had been struck. The agony spread through his flesh, bones, and nerves. It hurt like hell. In the air, the woman in white sneered. Weak, so you do know you are weak, but that is not your fault. These people use their age and cultivation to bully someone younger. It is only natural that you could not defeat them. Keep thinking. Where exactly did you go wrong? Ye Xuan remained silent for a very long time. At last he raised his head and looked at her. I did nothing wrong. The woman in white said nothing. Ye Xuan gritted his teeth. The people from those powers wanted to seize my younger sister, so I had to kill them. They came to take revenge on me. Yes, I am weak. Yes, I was beaten, I accept that, but I did nothing wrong. If it happened again, I would still kill them. I may be weak, but whoever bullies my sister or my friends, I will kill them. The woman in white asked indifferently, and if you cannot defeat them? Ye Xuan answered through clenched teeth, then I fight anyway. I would rather die standing than kneel and accept humiliation. The woman in white remained silent for a moment before saying, release your sword intent. Ye Xuan obeyed and released it. A while later she said softly, there are many kinds of sword intent. Do you know what kind yours is? Ye Xuan shook his head. She fell silent for a moment, then said, your sword intent. Her voice suddenly stopped. Ye Xuan raised his head and looked at her. She remained quiet for another moment, and was just about to continue when the distant horizon suddenly trembled violently. Then a shadowy figure appeared before everyone. Seeing the shadow, the black-robed old man below immediately became excited. The ninth tower master and Jiang Yueshan, however, grew solemn, extremely solemn. The newcomer might be someone whose cultivation surpassed even the peak of the 10,000 Dharma realm. From the horizon, the shadowy figure spoke, who are you? The woman in white glanced at him indifferently. What? Are you the strongest person in that academy? The shadow replied in an equally indifferent tone, you have killed several members of my academy. Should you not give me an explanation? At that moment, the emerald sword in front of Ye Xuan suddenly shot toward the horizon. In the distance, the shadow raised both hands and gently pushed forward. The space before him warped into a strange shape. Yet the emerald sword passed straight through that distorted space and arrived before him. The shadow was horrified. His right hand suddenly pressed forward like a great mountain. The force contained within that palm seemed powerful enough to devastate half the imperial capital in a single strike. But the emerald sword tore through that power as easily as thin paper. It pierced straight through his palm and stopped between his brows. Boom. The shadow trembled violently before his true body was forced to appear. He was a gaunt old man. The gaunt elder stared at the distant woman in white in disbelief, his heart shaken to its core. That sword had gone far beyond the limits of his understanding. In the distance, the woman in white said indifferently, an explanation. You want an explanation? My explanation is that I have not killed enough yet. I still want to kill several more. As her words fell, her left hand lowered slightly, slash. A beam of sword light pierced directly through the space between the black-robed old man's brows below. He collapsed to the ground. Seeing this, the gaunt elder's pupils contracted. He stared at the woman in white. You. Are you from the central divine continent? A streak of sword light flashed, slash. The gaunt elder's right arm flew away, under the moonlight. The woman in white let her left hand hang behind her, and lightly pinched a strand of hair that had fallen beside her ear with her right hand. There is no need for nonsense. Keep calling people here, then let me kill in peace. Below, the ninth tower master smiled bitterly. He naturally knew something about what had happened between Ye Xuan and Drunken Immortal Tower aboard the flying ship. He could now imagine exactly how desperate and powerless the third tower master and the others must have felt when facing this woman. This was plainly, I am stronger than you and I intend to bully you until you die. In the air, the gaunt elder's expression was extremely ugly. Call for more people, call them here to die. They had lost, they had truly lost. And they had not merely lost, they had suffered disastrous losses. At that moment, the woman in white suddenly asked, where is your academy? Where was the academy? Hearing that question, the gaunt elder's face changed drastically. Under the moonlight, she said indifferently, point out the direction. Below, the ninth tower master hurriedly pointed to the right. Senior, it is over there. The woman in white nodded lightly. The gaunt elder was about to speak when the emerald sword suddenly pierced straight through the space between his brows. Slash, blood sprayed. Immediately afterward, the woman in white slowly closed her eyes and gently pointed to the right. Go, hum. A sword cry echoed across the heavens. Before everyone's eyes, the emerald sword carried the gaunt elder's severed head and vanished into the distant horizon. The sword flew away with his head. Far away lay the Great Cloud Empire, the largest empire in Qingzhou. Its territory covered nearly 1/3 of the entire region, and the lands it ruled were known collectively as the Great Cloud Domain. Within the Great Cloud Domain, aside from the empire itself, there were also many powerful factions and aristocratic clans. Cangmu Academy was one of them. Great Cloud Cangmu Academy could be called the strongest branch of Cangmu Academy in all of Qingzhou. That night, the peace of the Great Cloud Domain was suddenly shattered by a streak of sword light. It crossed the domain like a falling star, finally entering the imperial capital of the Great Cloud Empire. At that moment, the entire empire was shaken. Countless experts raised their heads and followed the streak of sword light with eyes filled with horror. A sword immortal. It was a sword immortal. At this moment, nearly every expert in the Great Cloud Empire was thrown into an uproar. A genuine sword immortal. Before the eyes of countless people, the sword carried the gaunt elder's head toward a towering mountain. Cangmu Academy stood upon that mountain. When the sword flew in, everyone in the academy was alarmed and looked up. Several of its experts reacted as if facing a mortal enemy, yet not a single person dared step forward to stop it. At last, the sword carried the head to the highest hall in the academy and drove itself into the roof. Clang. In an instant, the entire mountain shook violently as if struck by an earthquake. Then a voice rang out above Cangmu Academy. If Cangmu Academy refuses to accept this, come seek revenge. I am invincible, do as you please. Everyone, I am invincible, do as you please. The entire academy fell silent, everyone stared at the sword. They all knew whose head was pinned upon it, the academy's guardian venerable, one of the 5 strongest people in the entire institution. Yet now, the guardian venerable's head was hanging from a sword. Had Cangmu Academy offended a sword immortal? Not only the academy's students were stunned. Everyone across the Great Cloud Empire was equally speechless. A sword immortal. This was the first time a sword immortal had appeared in Qingzhou, and it had happened because of Cangmu Academy. What in the world had Cangmu Academy done? At this moment, everyone was intensely curious. Qingzhou Jiang Kingdom. Under the moonlight, the woman in white's plain dress appeared even more striking, unstained by so much as a speck of dust. Her back remained turned to everyone, so no one could see her face. She pointed toward the distant sky on the right. You will retrieve that sword for me within 6 months. If you fail, I will break your legs. As soon as she finished speaking, she vanished beneath the moonlight. She left. The 9th Tower Master and Jiang Yueshan exchanged glances, then both looked toward Ye Xuan not far away. Ye Xuan walked over and bowed deeply. Thank you both for tonight. Without their help, he and his companions would have died long ago. As for the mysterious woman, he guessed that forcibly activating the World Prison Tower had awakened her. Seeing Ye Xuan thank them so respectfully, the 9th Tower Master felt deeply gratified. When helping someone, the thing one feared most was encountering an ungrateful person. He gently patted Ye Xuan on the shoulder. Young friend, the ones who should offer thanks are the 2 of us. With your master's help, both of us will reach an entirely new level within 6 months. To us, this is no less than the grace of saving our lives. Without another opportunity, they might never have advanced again. But now, with the mysterious woman's help, they had a chance to break through their limits. For them, that truly was life-saving grace. Jiang Yueshan nodded as well and looked at Ye Xuan. What do you intend to do next? If you have no plans yet, you may cultivate in the palace for a time. You and little Jiu are friends, so you would also have someone there to keep you company. He was building a relationship. The 9th Tower Master glanced at Jiang Yueshan and quickly added, you may also come to my Drunken Immortal Tower. If you wish, I am willing to take you to the central divine continent. Drunken Immortal Tower will certainly treat you as an honored guest. Naturally, he also wanted to strengthen their relationship. It was not entirely because they valued the mysterious woman behind Ye Xuan. Ye Xuan himself was extraordinary as well. And with a Sword Immortal guiding him, how could his future achievements possibly be ordinary? Ye Xuan was still young and still facing hardship. If they did not help him now, then in the future, they might never have another chance. Ye Xuan looked at the two men and shook his head. I accept the goodwill of both seniors. But my next plan is to rebuild Canglan Academy. Rebuild Canglan Academy. Jiang Yueshan and the Ninth Tower Master looked at one another, sighed softly and said no more. Beside them, Ji Anzhi looked at Ye Xuan with tears gathering in her eyes. The Ninth Tower Master nodded. Young friend, rebuilding Canglan Academy will require many things. Whatever you need, come to Drunken Immortal Tower. I will order my people to help you with everything they have. Jiang Yueshan also nodded. As for manpower, I will send people when the time comes. Hearing this, Ye Xuan bowed deeply once more. Thank you, Jiang Yueshan smiled. It is only a small matter. Young friend, there is no need to be so formal with me. That makes us seem distant. The Ninth Tower Master nodded as well. Exactly. There is no need for such courtesy, Ye Xuan nodded. Seniors, I still have many matters to handle, so I will take my leave first. He cupped his fists toward the two men, then turned to Mo Yunqi and the others. Let us collect the spoils. The spoils. More than 10,000 Dharma realm experts had died here. Among them were several at the peak of the realm, and even one who had surpassed it. How could the possessions on their bodies possibly be poor? Of course they were not. The moment Ye Xuan spoke, Mo Yunqi and Bai Ze moved to the side. Before long, they had swept the ground completely clean. Jiang Yueshan and the Ninth Tower Master said nothing. Although they were somewhat envious, they knew those possessions truly belonged to Ye Xuan's group. After all, those people had been killed by the mysterious woman. Soon afterward, Ye Xuan and his companions disappeared from their sight. The Ninth Tower Master said softly, that young man is neither impatient nor reckless, and he values loyalty deeply. We did not help the wrong person this time, Jiang Yueshan nodded. Cangmu Academy was truly foolish to reject him, and old Ji sighed. The Ninth Tower Master said, I doubt this matter is over. Jiang Yueshan looked at him. The Ninth Tower Master continued in a grave voice, Cangmu Academy's headquarters is not in Qingzhou. It is in the central divine continent. And there is also the underworld. Its headquarters should be in Qingzhou as well. Both powers suffered enormous losses this time, especially considering we do not yet know what that senior did afterward. In my judgment, neither side will let this go. Jiang Yueshan said solemnly, would they truly offend a Sword Immortal to the bitter end? The Ninth Tower Master shook his head. To me, a Sword Immortal is an existence one can only look up to. But in the central divine continent, a Sword Immortal may not count among the strongest experts. A single Sword Immortal is not enough to force them to bow their heads. Jiang Yueshan said quietly, whether they let the matter rest or not, we will have to wait and see. The Ninth Tower Master nodded, we will wait and see. Great Cloud Empire Cangmu Academy. Cangmu Academy lay in the southern region of the Great Cloud Empire. It had been built across an enormous mountain range, so vast that a single glance could not take in its entirety. Clouds and mist coiled around the peaks throughout the year, making the place resemble an immortal paradise. This was no ordinary mountain range, a spirit vein ran beneath it. Although Great Cloud Cangmu Academy was not the main academy, it was the largest Cangmu Academy branch in Qingzhou. Among all the academy's branches across the region, it stood at the very top. But tonight was unquestionably a night of tremendous humiliation for Great Cloud Cangmu Academy. One of its guardian venerables had been nailed inside Heyoran Hall. Heyoran Hall enshrined the heads and honored predecessors of every generation of Cangmu Academy. It could be called the most sacred place in the entire institution. No one went to retrieve the sword. For one reason, they did not dare. For another, some people did not even dare approach it. The sword emitted such fierce sword kai that even 10,000 Dharma realm experts were unwilling to draw near carelessly. There was no longer any doubt. Its owner was a Sword Immortal. Everyone understood that Cangmu Academy had offended a Sword Immortal. Inside a great hall, a middle-aged man sat at the highest seat. He wore a long white robe and held a book in his right hand. An elegant, scholarly air surrounded him. This was Mu Qingxuan, head of Cangmu Academy. 8 or 9 people stood along both sides below him, men and women alike. Every one of them was a peak 10,000 Dharma realm expert. After an unknown amount of times, Mu Qingxuan closed the book in his hand and said softly, "We have confirmed that the Sword Immortal came from Qingzhou. Before this, several people from our academy also traveled to Jiang Kingdom to kill a young man named Ye Xuan and claim the reward offered by Jiang Kingdom's Cangmu Academy. Unfortunately, not only did we lose a gifted student, but several 10,000 Dharma realm experts also died. Now even one of our guardian venerables has been beheaded. According to the scouts, 2 peak 10,000 Dharma realm assassins from the underworld also participated this time. Both died. Several experts from other factions were killed as well. 16 people fell in total. With such strength, there can be no doubt that the attacker was a Sword Immortal." He looked around the hall. "What do all of you think?" The hall fell silent. A Sword Immortal. That was not someone Qingzhou's Cangmu Academy could afford to provoke. They could only swallow this loss. It would be humiliating, but it was undoubtedly the wisest decision. At this moment, an old man stepped forward. "If that person had only killed our people, there would be nothing more to say. We provoked a Sword Immortal and deserved the consequences. But she drove her sword into Heyoran Hall. To Cangmu Academy, that is an unforgivable humiliation. Our academy will become the laughingstock of all Qingzhou, and our students will never be able to hold their heads high before others." He shook his head gently. "This matter cannot be allowed to end here. It could not end here." As soon as he said this, the atmosphere in the hall suddenly became strained. If they refused to let it end, did that mean continuing the fight? Fight a Sword Immortal? How? With what? At that moment, Mu Qingxuan suddenly raised his head and looked toward the entrance of the hall. No one knew when, but a shadow had appeared there. There was only a shadow, no person. Seeing it, the expressions of everyone in the hall changed slightly. None of them had sensed when it arrived. Mu Qingxuan said indifferently, "I did not expect the Dark Lord of the Underworld to visit. Forgive me for failing to welcome you from afar, the Dark Lord." Hearing this title, everyone present changed expression. Within the Great Cloud Domain, the Dark Lord of the Underworld was a name that inspired terror in all who heard it. He led the #1 assassin organization in Qingzhou. More accurately, the only true assassin organization in Qingzhou. A hoarse voice rang through the hall. "Head Mu, let us join forces, join forces." Mu Qingxuan narrowed his eyes. "Where does your confidence come from?" The Dark Lord replied, "She is only a Sword Immortal. If we combine our strength, killing her will not be difficult." Mu Qingxuan shook his head. "You cannot kill her. Even if you and I join forces, we still cannot kill her." The Dark Lord suddenly said, "Someone from the Central Divine Continent has already arrived." Mu Qingxuan frowned slightly. "Is your underworld truly prepared to stake everything on this? What is your purpose? Simple revenge?" The Dark Lord answered softly, "A Sword Immortal must have cultivated an origin golden core. If we kill her, consuming it would be equivalent to 100 years of bitter cultivation. Is that not reason enough?" Mu Qingxuan asked, "And the price?" The Dark Lord laughed quietly. "Fortune is found amid danger, is it not?" Mu Qingxuan remained silent. The Dark Lord spoke again. "That Sword Immortal is injured. Mu, Qingzhou Jiang Kingdom Canglan Academy." By now, Canglan Academy had become a field of ruins. Not only had Canglan Hall and the other buildings been destroyed, but even half of Canglan Mountain had been blasted apart. Ye Xuan led Mo Yunqi and the other 2 to a heap of rubble. He stepped into the ruins and searched for a while before finding something. A wine gourd, old Jai's wine gourd. The moment Mo Yunqi and Bai Ze saw it, their eyes immediately grew wet. Ji Anzhi lowered her head slightly and clenched both hands. Ye Xuan gripped the gourd tightly, then hung it at his waist and looked at the ruins before him. After a long silence, he knelt. In his entire life, aside from forcing others to kneel before his younger sister, Ye Xuan had never knelt to anyone. He had first come to Canglan Academy because old Jai had saved his sister. But later he had sincerely come to love this place. There had been no scheming against one another here, no struggle in which one side had to die for the other to live. Here he had felt a warmth that had never existed in the Ye family of King City. At this moment Mo Yunqi and the other two walked to Ye Xuan's side. All three slowly knelt. The four of them bowed 3 times toward the ruins before them. Ye Xuan tightened his grip on the wine gourd. Determination filled his eyes. Old Jai, I will take good care of them. I will also bring back the students left on the small path of Kang Mountain. One day I will take them to the main academy in the central divine continent and fulfill your final wish. After saying this, he rose. But at that very moment, something unexpected happened. Without warning, Ye Xuan's expression changed drastically. He collapsed to the ground, his entire body convulsing violently as though seized by a fit. Seeing this, Mo Yunqi and the other two changed expression and hurriedly surrounded him. Ye Xuan's face was twisted so severely that it was almost unrecognizable. The 3 of them panicked. Ji Anzhi hurriedly said, I will find a physician. She turned to leave, but Ye Xuan suddenly grabbed her. His voice trembled. No need, I am suffering backlash. You. All of you watch over me, wait a while, backlash. The mysterious woman had warned him not to use the world prison tower recklessly, but he had used it earlier. The moment he did, he had already staked his life. More than that, every time the mysterious woman acted, it placed an enormous burden upon the tower. In the end, that burden had to be borne by him, the tower's owner. The reason he had not suffered backlash before was clearly because the mysterious woman had forcibly suppressed it. But now it felt as though his entire body was being torn apart. The agony was so terrible that he wished for death. The backlash from using the world prison tower, combined with the backlash caused by the mysterious woman's intervention, both had arrived at once. Even Ye Xuan could barely endure it. His whole body trembled uncontrollably on the ground. Cracks spread across his skin as though his body were earth-struck by some immense force, ready to shatter at any moment. It was terrifying. Seeing him like this, Mo Yunqi and the other two were horrified and completely at a loss. Ye Xuan curled into himself, his body twitching without pause. How desperately he wished he could lose consciousness, but he knew he could not. If he fell unconscious now, there was a real chance he would never wake again. He could not die. He still had to find his sister. He still had to find Xianxia. He still had to rebuild Canglan Academy. He still had to endure. He had to endure. Ye Xuan wrapped his arms around himself and lay trembling on the ground. Beside him, Mo Yunqi suddenly dropped down and stared at Ye Xuan. Tears began flowing from his eyes. He wiped at his face. I am so damn weak, damn it, I am useless. A useless fool who cannot do anything. Bai Ze clenched both fists. His face showed no emotion, but his body was trembling. Ji Anzhi looked at Ye Xuan. Her expression was blank, yet tears shimmered in her eyes. Now, only the 4 of them remained in Canglan Academy. If Ye Xuan also fell into mortal danger. No one knew how much time passed before silver light appeared on the horizon. Dawn had come. By then, Ye Xuan's condition had improved considerably. Mo Yunqi and the other 2 remained beside him, guarding him without taking a single step away. At noon, Ye Xuan's finger moved slightly. Seeing this, Ji Anzhi hurried to his side, took his arm and asked softly, How do you feel? Ye Xuan slowly stood and opened his eyes, his body stiffened. Has the sun still not risen? Ji Anzhi trembled when she heard him. She looked into his eyes, they were empty, completely empty. Mo Yunqi and Bai Ze froze as well. Ye Xuan rubbed his eyes, then fell silent. It was not that dawn had not come, he had gone blind. At that moment, the mysterious woman's voice suddenly rang in his mind. Your physique is powerful enough to withstand the tower's backlash, but your eyes are the weakest part of your body. They could not bear its powers. She continued, the reason I did not intervene again is that once I act, I must suppress this tower. If I forcibly suppress it, the tower's seals may immediately shatter. Not only would the seals break, but the tower's power might unconsciously resist me. If that happened, you would be the first to die. Ye Xuan remained silent for a moment then smiled. It is not a serious problem. The mysterious woman said, your eyes may be blind, but you still have your sword. From now on, use your sword as your eyes. Cultivate a pair of sword eyes through the sword. Sword eyes. Ye Xuan was stunned. He asked inwardly, what does that mean? She answered indifferently, you already use a sword as your body. To cultivate sword eyes means, in simple terms, that one day you will no longer see this world with your physical eyes. You will see it with your heart. Only by looking at the world through the heart can you perceive its true nature. You have not reached that level yet, of course, but you can begin walking toward it. And once you possess sword eyes, you may eventually kill with a single glance. Naturally, that first requires you to cultivate them successfully. Ye Xuan said solemnly, please teach me. The mysterious woman replied, it may be painful. Maybe. Ye Xuan smiled bitterly. When she said something might be painful, it never meant merely possible. It meant it would be excruciating beyond words. He shook his head. Senior, do you think I am afraid of pain? The mysterious woman was silent for a moment before saying, in a while, I will transmit a cultivation method to you. Practice according to its contents. Also, having no eyes will inevitably affect your appearance somewhat. If you succeed in cultivating this technique in the future, you may find a new pair of eyes capable of bearing your sword eyes, perhaps the eyes of a true dragon or a spirit phoenix. Those are attractive enough. In any case, you may search for them yourself later. A true dragon or a spirit phoenix, Ye Xuan froze. Were those not legendary divine beasts of heaven and earth? Go and find their eyes. Would that not be the same as going to his death? At this moment the mysterious woman continued, there is one more matter. You must find the second Tao rule. The more complete this tower becomes, the easier things will be for me. You must also work hard to increase your own strength. Remember, your enemies are not only outside. There are enemies inside this tower as well. Ye Xuan nodded, understood. She said, I need to recuperate. Unless there is something important, do not disturb me and do not use this tower casually. You still cannot truly control it. Every time you activate it, the things being suppressed inside will be delighted. Ye Xuan asked in a deep voice, Senior, are you all right? She replied indifferently, you should worry more about yourself. The moment she finished speaking, a vast amount of information suddenly appeared in Ye Xuan's mind. A tremendous amount. One sword fixes the soul. The sword eyes art, one cultivation method and one sword technique. A while later, Ye Xuan shook his head and smiled. In truth, he was still extremely fortunate. With the mysterious woman's guidance, he had avoided countless detours that others would have been forced to take. He also never needed to worry about cultivation methods or sword techniques. Unfortunately, every time she acted, he ended up in a miserable state. He truly did not dare ask her to act again. This time he had lost his sight. Who knew what he might lose next time? Moreover, he could clearly sense that the world prison tower contained many, many dangers. That was the feeling the tower gave him. If the mysterious woman acted a few more times, the tower's Tao rules might collapse before it could even recover its energy. When that happened, he would be the first to die. At present, the mysterious woman's intervention was beneficial to him, but it also concealed an enormous danger. Besides, he did not want to rely on her for everything. He knew that the moment he developed dependence upon her, she would be the first person to abandon him. If he had not tried to activate the world prison tower at the risk of his own life earlier, she might never have intervened. He meant nothing to the mysterious woman. He had no right to expect her to help him forever. He still had to rely on himself. Making himself strong was what truly mattered. At that moment, the Xianxia sword inside Ye Xuan suddenly trembled lightly, as though trying to express something. Ye Xuan opened his palm, and the Xianxia sword appeared in his hand. Although he could no longer see it, he could still feel it. Holding the sword, the corner of Ye Xuan's mouth curved upward. From now on, you will be my eyes. At that moment, Yunqi suddenly stepped in front of him. Bandit Ye Xuan shook his head. You do not need to comfort me, I am fine. Yunqi and the other two fell silent. Ye Xuan said softly, Canglan Academy has only the 4 of us left, but I will rebuild it. I will make Canglan Academy the strongest academy in Qingzhou. No, I will make it the finest academy in the entire Qingcang World. After saying this, he turned toward the ruins. Old Jai, if your spirit is watching from heaven, then watch carefully. I, Ye Xuan, keep my word. I will show the main academy in the central divine continent that although they look down on us today, one day I will rise so high that they will no longer be able to reach me. Rebuild Canglan Academy. Ye Xuan selected a new location not far from the academy's former grounds. It was a large mountain behind the old one. The mountain was not especially high, only around 100 jiang, and a great waterfall poured down from its summit, creating a magnificent sight. With the support of Drunken Immortal Tower and the Jiang royal family, the reconstruction of Canglan Academy proceeded extremely smoothly. Every day, more than 1,000 laborers worked across the mountain. Drunken Immortal Tower supplied nearly all the construction materials. This time, both Drunken Immortal Tower and the Jiang royal family had practically placed all their stakes on Ye Xuan's group. Naturally, Ye Xuan did not reject their attempts to draw closer to him. An additional friend was always better than an additional enemy. Moreover, Canglan Academy would remain in Jiang Kingdom. In the future, it would need both powers to look after it. At the mountain summit, Ye Xuan and the other 3 gathered before a large boulder. A huge pile of items lay before them. Most were top-grade spiritual weapons, and there were even several bright rank treasures. They had obtained these from the bodies of the 10,000 Dharma realm experts. There were also several items taken from the secret realm. There were many. At present, it would not be an exaggeration to say that the 4 of them possessed wealth comparable to a nation. Ye Xuan looked at the pile of treasures. Choose first. Keep anything useful to you and keep the highest quality pieces as well. We will auction the rest for money. Money. What did rebuilding Canglan Academy require most? Money, of course. There were expenses everywhere. Merely thinking about them gave Ye Xuan a headache. Mo Yunqi and the other 2 exchanged glances, then all shook their heads. Mo Yunqi said, keep everything for rebuilding the academy. Ye Xuan shook his head. Right now, Canglan Academy has only the 4 of us. Our combat strength cannot be allowed to fall behind. Each of you should choose 1 item for protection. The 3 exchanged another glance. At last Mo Yunqi nodded, then I will choose first. He beckoned with his right hand and a pair of black boots flew into his grasp, low-grade bright rank. Mo Yunqi immediately put them on. A moment later, his body rose into the air. He looked down at his feet in amazement. These boots increase my speed by at least 30 or 40%. At my current speed, even a divine union realm expert might not be able to catch me. Ye Xuan nodded. You are already at the peak of the Skysore realm. You must enter the Nether Passage realm as soon as possible. He pointed toward Ji Anzhi and Bai Ze. The same goes for both of you. Reach the Nether Passage realm as quickly as you can. Bai Ze and Ji Anzhi nodded. Ye Xuan continued, choose. Bai Ze looked over the pile and finally selected a pair of black bracers. The bracers were pitch black from end to end. No one could tell what material had been used to forge them. Several beast images were carved across their surface. They were also low-grade bright rank treasures. Bai Ze put them on. The bracers immediately tightened around his arms, and the beast images began to move as though they were about to come alive. He looked toward Ye Xuan and the others, his voice filled with excitement. There is beast soul power inside them. With these bracers, my strength can increase by about 40%. As if suddenly thinking of something, he looked toward Ye Xuan. Bandit, you cultivate the body as well. You could use these bracers instead. Ye Xuan shook his head. Whether you use them or I use them makes no difference. Bai Ze looked at him without speaking, but warmth spread through his heart. In truth, the 4 of them had long since stopped separating what belonged to whom. It did not matter who used it. Ye Xuan looked toward Ji Anzhi. She examined the pile of treasures for a while, then shook her head. I do not need anything. Ye Xuan nodded. Then I will find you a good saber in the future. After saying this, he put away all the remaining treasures, then addressed the other 3. For now, Anzhi will supervise the construction of Canglan Academy. Bai Ze, you will enter the deeper mountains and survey the area. Find several suitable places for cultivation and plan the construction of training grounds there. Yunqi suddenly asked, "Are we recruiting people?" Ye Xuan nodded, "Of course. An academy naturally needs students. But we cannot recruit carelessly, the selection must be strict. We can discuss the details later. For now, we must finish rebuilding Canglan Academy." He turned toward Yunqi. "Old Mo, your skin is thick enough, so go down the mountain and spread the word. Let everyone know that Canglan Academy will soon begin recruiting students. We need to build our reputation first. Also, ask around the imperial capital and find out whether there are any people with broad knowledge and deep learning. In the future, Canglan Academy will not focus only on cultivation. Since we are an academy, our students should naturally study as well." Yunqi hesitated for a moment. "Study," Ye Xuan nodded. "We must not only cultivate their strength, but also their character and intelligence. I do not want every student in our academy to become someone who sees nothing but personal benefit." Yunqi nodded quickly. "Right, exactly. They cannot become like those bastards from Cangmu Academy." Every one of them threw away their sense of shame. Ye Xuan nodded, then looked toward Ji Anzhi. "Have them build a memorial hall first. Also, find a suitable piece of land with good geomancy. Once the memorial hall is finished, we will go to Cangmu Academy and bring back the students left along the small path below Kang Mountain." Ji Anzhi's body trembled when she heard this. She looked at Ye Xuan but said nothing. Ye Xuan slowly stood and looked toward the horizon. It is time for them to come home. Half an hour later, Ye Xuan left Canglan Mountain and went to a branch of Drunken Immortal Tower. The 9th Tower Master personally came out to receive him. Inside a room, Ye Xuan took all the treasures from the World Prison Tower and placed them outside. The 9th Tower Master was slightly surprised. "What is this?" Ye Xuan said, "Senior, these are the spoils we obtained earlier. I hope you can help me auction them." The 9th Tower Master asked in a deep voice, "Do you urgently need money?" Ye Xuan nodded. Of course he needed money. Rebuilding Canglan Academy could not rely entirely on Drunken Immortal Tower and the Jiang royal family. A person could not conduct himself that way. Besides, he wanted to prepare cultivation resources for Yunqi and the other two. Cultivation required a great deal of money. And once Canglan Academy began recruiting new students, there would be countless additional expenses. Money. Right now, he desperately needed it. The 9th Tower Master thought for a moment, then nodded. None of these items are ordinary. Some are even exceptionally valuable. If they are auctioned here, I fear only a few could be sold for their true worth. How about this? Leave them with me. I will have the people above appraise them and offer you a price. Drunken Immortal Tower will purchase them directly, then take them elsewhere in Qingzhou to auction. Do not worry. We will not mistreat you regarding the price. If the final auction price exceeds what we paid, we will give you the difference. What do you think? Ye Xuan considered it, then nodded. That will work. I will have to trouble you, senior. The 9th Tower Master smiled. Young friend, you are far too polite. As he spoke, he suddenly took out a black card and held it before Ye Xuan. Young friend, the 2nd Tower Master personally issued this. He asked me to tell you that if you ever travel to the Central Divine Continent, you must visit Drunken Immortal Tower as our guest. The 2nd Tower Master, Ye Xuan, was somewhat confused. The 9th Tower Master nodded and smiled. The senior leadership of Drunken Immortal Tower has already learned what happened last night. Thanks to you and your master, I have now been promoted to 5th Tower Master. Naturally, I will remain responsible for Jiang Kingdom's affairs. Once you leave Jiang Kingdom in the future, I will also be permitted to leave. So that is what happened. Ye Xuan cupped his fists. Congratulations, senior. The 9th Tower Master shook his head and laughed. It is all thanks to your master. If I could not advance another step, I might have died of old age in Jiang Kingdom. He pointed at the black card before Ye Xuan. Young friend, this is the highest level honored guest card issued by Drunken Immortal Tower. With it, every tower master of the 5th floor or below must salute you upon meeting you. No matter where you are, this card allows you to mobilize experts of Drunken Immortal Tower to fight for you 3 times. And that is not all. You will never pay a single transaction fee when auctioning anything through Drunken Immortal Tower. Whenever you purchase something owned by the tower, you will receive a 40% discount. Ye Xuan accepted the black card, then cupped his fists toward the 9th tower master. Please tell the senior leadership of your tower that I, Ye Xuan, will remember this kindness deeply. Hearing this, the 9th tower master's smile became even brighter. Drunken Immortal Tower had chosen to befriend Ye Xuan not merely because a Sword Immortal stood behind him. There was another reason: Ye Xuan's own talent and strength. He was a supreme genius who did not lose in the slightest to Xianxia. Perhaps one day he would become a Sword Immortal himself. If Ye Xuan truly reached that level, then Drunken Immortal Tower would gain a Sword Immortal as a friend. A friendship with a Sword Immortal was one of the strongest forms of deterrence imaginable. Anyone thinking of moving against Drunken Immortal Tower would be forced to reconsider. Most importantly, even if Drunken Immortal Tower wished to draw in an already famous Sword Immortal, it would be nearly impossible. But they could still build ties with a young man who possessed the potential to become one. Ye Xuan did not know that the 9th Tower Master's current status within Drunken Immortal Tower had risen enormously, because he had won his wager the previous night. If he had lost, he would have died miserably, but he had won. Because of that, Drunken Immortal Tower had promoted him to 5th Tower Master, granting him authority many times greater than before. It was a single step into the heavens. A while later, Ye Xuan turned and left. The 9th Tower Master watched his departing back, his smile growing brighter. His eyes were filled with appreciation. Ye Xuan did not merely possess monstrous talent. Drunken Immortal Tower also valued how deeply he cherished loyalty and affection. Help a person like this once, and he would remember it for the rest of his life. Cangmu Academy. At present, Cangmu Academy had become the most awkward and disgraced power in the entire imperial capital. Lai Xuankang's death had left it like a snake without a head. Worse still, its members had no idea how he had died. Jiang and the 9th Tower Master certainly had no intention of telling them. Ye Xuan and the other 3 headed directly toward Cangmu Academy. Countless people gathered to watch along the way. Who in the imperial capital did not know the 4 of them now? At present, Ye Xuan's group was even more famous than Xianxia had once been. When people saw them heading toward Cangmu Academy, countless spectators began following. The crowd grew larger with every street they crossed. Before long, the 4 arrived at the foot of Kang Mountain with the crowd behind them. Ye Xuan raised his head toward the mountain. A sword suddenly shot into the sky and disappeared toward the horizon. At the same time, his voice echoed across Kang Mountain. Cangmu Academy, does anyone dare come out and fight? Did anyone dare fight? Everyone present raised their heads toward the mountain. No one answered. The crowd sighed. At that moment, an old man suddenly appeared not far from Ye Xuan's group. The newcomer was Mo Song, vice head of Cangmu Academy, a divine union realm expert. Mo Song stared at Ye Xuan. Why must you push matters so far? Before he could finish, Ye Xuan suddenly charged forward. In the blink of an eye, he appeared directly before Mo Song, gripped the Xianxia sword with both hands and brought it down. One sword decides life and death. This sword carried not only overwhelming sword momentum, but sword intent as well. Mo Song's expression changed the instant Ye Xuan attacked. He braced his right foot behind him, brought both hands together and thrust them forward with all his strength. Boom. A tremendous force erupted from his palms. Bang. Before the eyes of countless spectators, Mo Song was blasted backward several dozen zhang. The entire crowd froze. Mo Song was a divine union realm expert. Yet one sword had sent him flying. In the distance, Mo Song stared at his mangled arms. He raised his head toward Ye Xuan, horror filling his voice. Sword Dao Grandmaster, a sword flashed. PFFT, Mo Song's head flew away. A pillar of blood rose into the air. Everyone present stood completely stunned, all eyes fixed upon Ye Xuan, a Sword Dao Grandmaster. A Sword Dao Grandmaster this young. Ye Xuan opened his palm, and the Liangxiu sword returned to his hand. Holding the sword, he began walking up the mountain. Yunqi, Bai Ze, and Ji Anzhi followed close behind. Under the gaze of countless people, Ye Xuan's group stepped onto the narrow path leading up Kang Mountain. Beside the path, a corpse had been nailed upright. Its face could no longer be recognized, and all 4 limbs had been broken. The sight was horrifying. The moment Ji Anzhi saw it, tears began falling from her eyes. Yunqi and Bai Ze moved to take the body down, but Ye Xuan shook his head. I want the people of Cangmu Academy to kneel and carry them back to Canglan Academy. With that, he quickened his pace up the mountain. Yunqi, Bai Ze, and Ji Anzhi followed closely. At the foot of the mountain, the spectators hesitated briefly before hurrying after them. They no longer feared Cangmu Academy. The entire imperial capital and Drunken Immortal Tower had already turned against it. Jiang Kingdom's Cangmu Academy was now like a rat crossing the street. Everyone wanted to strike it. Before long, Ye Xuan's group reached the upper reaches of Kang Mountain. Ahead of them stood an academy hall, and more than 100 people had gathered before it. Every one of them was a student of Cangmu Academy. The man guarding them was none other than the academy's remaining vice head Kumo. Old Ji had injured Kumo earlier. Although the man had survived, his wounds still had not fully healed. The moment he saw Ye Xuan, his face became extremely ugly. Again, this man had come again. The last time Ye Xuan had visited Cangmu Academy, he had not only killed Fen Jiu but more than 10 of its students as well. Now he was back. Ye Xuan looked toward Kumo and the others. Please return the students of Canglan Academy to us. Remember, you will kneel as you carry them back. The faces of Cangmu Academy students immediately twisted with rage. Kneel? Was he humiliating them? Kumo gritted his teeth. Ye Xuan, if you truly intend for the fish to die and the net to tear, then you want to fight. Ye Xuan cut him off. Then we fight. The moment his words fell, he charged forward. Behind Ye Xuan, the corner of Yunqi's mouth lifted into a grin. Then let us fight. I have wanted to butcher you bastards for a long time. As soon as he finished speaking, the black boots beneath his feet trembled. His body turned into an afterimage and vanished from where he stood. He was so fast that most people present could not see him clearly. The instant Yunqi moved, Bai Ze and Ji Anzhi charged as well. They had not come here to negotiate peacefully, they had come to fight. Cangmu Academy bore the greatest responsibility for old Ji's death. How could they possibly leave that blood debt unpaid? Ye Xuan's target was Kumo. Kumo was a peak Divine Union Realm expert, yet against Ye Xuan he had almost no power to resist. One had to remember that Ye Xuan had not only reached the peak of the Skysword realm, but had also comprehended sword intent. A martial Dao Grandmaster, a sword Dao Grandmaster. His combat strength had already surpassed what it had been by an enormous margin. Seeing Ye Xuan's group charge, Kumo roared through clenched teeth, "Fight, fight to the death!" He led the others forward. Cangmu Academy no longer had any other choice. If they wanted to live, they could only fight. They understood perfectly well that Ye Xuan would never let them go. Surrender would bring nothing but humiliation. The moment Kumo charged, several powerful auras erupted at the same time. 3 Divine Union Realm experts. Together with Kumo, the 3 rushed directly toward Ye Xuan. Clearly, the 4 intended to kill him first. Meanwhile, Cangmu Academy students charged toward Bai Ze and the other 2. 3 people against more than 100. In terms of numbers and momentum, Yunqi's group was utterly overwhelmed. Yet not one of the 3 showed the slightest trace of fear. At that moment, a group of black-clothed figures suddenly appeared. There were more than 40 of them in total, each carrying a black sickle. The instant they arrived, they entered the battlefield, and their targets were the students of Cangmu Academy. Once the black-clothed group joined the fight, Cangmu Academy students began falling one after another. The Jiang royal family. Drunken Immortal Tower. Not far away, Kumo roared in fury. How could he still fail to recognize that these black-clothed people had been sent by the Jiang royal family and Drunken Immortal Tower? No one answered him. Kumo was powerless to change anything. In the end, he and the others could only surround Ye Xuan and attack him with increasing madness. With 4 Divine Union Realm experts besieging him, Ye Xuan naturally could not overpower them. The moment the battle began, he was repeatedly forced back. Mo and the other 3 pursued him like madmen. Right now, the only thing they wanted was to kill Ye Xuan. At that moment, Yunqi suddenly appeared behind Ye Xuan. A golden flying knife shot toward one of the Divine Union Realm experts nearby. The man's expression changed instantly. He forcibly twisted his body aside and narrowly avoided the fatal blade. Almost at the same moment, another figure charged toward a different Divine Union Realm expert like a living weapon. It was Bai Ze. Before anyone could see clearly, the Divine Union Realm expert had already been struck and driven back more than 10 Jiang before finally stopping. On the other side, Ji Anzhi silently appeared in front of another Divine Union Realm expert, 4 against 4. As for Cangmu Academy students, they were already being completely suppressed by the black-clothed fighters. In truth, even if Ye Xuan's group had not come for revenge, the Jiang royal family and Drunken Immortal Tower would never have spared Cangmu Academy. If they did not destroy it now, were they supposed to wait for it to seek revenge in the future? Standing opposite Ye Xuan, Mo stared fixedly at him. Very good, Ye Xuan, very good. I never imagined that Jiang Kingdom's Cangmu Academy would be destroyed by your hands. Ye Xuan suddenly vanished. When he appeared again, he was already above Mo's head. A sword came down with terrifying force. Bang. Mo was slashed several dozen Jiang away. The instant he stopped, the ground beneath him shattered. Blood poured from his mouth and quickly dyed the front of his robe crimson. Mo was shaken to his core. He raised his head toward Ye Xuan. Ye Xuan suddenly erupted in anger. Damn it, stop wasting time with your endless nonsense. I only want to beat you to death. As soon as he finished speaking, he charged again. Although his eyes could see nothing, he could still sense his surroundings. If not for his blindness, his combat strength would have been at least 20 or 30% greater. The loss of his sight still affected him considerably. Seeing Ye Xuan charge once more, Mo's mouth curved into a savage grin. Then come. He rushed straight toward Ye Xuan. A violent aura surged from within his body, its power already exceeding the level of an ordinary Divine Union Realm expert. Self-destruction. Mo understood perfectly well that, in his current state, he was no match for Ye Xuan. Rather than be cut down by Ye Xuan's sword, he would drag his enemy into destruction with him. Ye Xuan did not stop. The sword in his hand suddenly shot forward and slashed. Mo smiled, slowly revealing his teeth. Boom.